I'm Suzanne Lindgren with Utne Reader, and I'm here at the Mother Earth News Fair with Miles Olson, author of Unlearn, Rewild, Earth Skills, Ideas, and Inspiration for the Future Primitive. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for chatting with me.
My first question is, what is unlearning and rewilding?
Well, unlearning is the process of, we all have this cultural created reality that we live in. My process of unlearning started when I was 17, and I, for some reason, accidentally ended up living in the woods for a few months by myself. And as soon as I got there, I got dropped off on this island by a friend, and as soon as I got there, I realized I had made a horrible mistake, which was that I was alone in the wilderness, and there was nothing to reaffirm my human identity, the cultural created identity that was who I am. And I put myself into the position that I guess indigenous cultures have put their members through since the beginning of human societies, which is the initiation, the rite of passage, where you go away from the village, you go away from mass consciousness, and you experience a real reality, which is a reality beyond the human understanding. And that was my initial foray into the whole experience of unlearning, which is just taking away the veneer, the illusion that we wear that filters the world for us. And when I'm talking about it in the book, I'm not recommending that everyone must go on this massive, epic pilgrimage away from civilization, but that's kind of a hyperbolic example of a process that our whole culture needs to undergo, basically, which is to take away this mask that we wear, this illusion that we see the world through, and actually experience pure reality for what it is.
Do you think it can be done from where we are, like within the culture?
I think so, yeah. I don't think that you actually have to go very far. I think that you asked what's unlearning and what's rewilding. So rewilding is the process is a more physical process. We're all domesticated creatures living in a human constructed environment. We're not living in a wild, natural, intimate way with the land, culturally speaking. So rewilding is the process of physically disentangling ourselves from that and actually coming into a direct, experiential relationship with the land that we live in, and also with humans, entering into just more intimate, real, unmediated relationships. In the book, I offer a bunch of skills that can facilitate that. Natural methods of contraception, hunting, trapping, foraging, wild medicines. There's all sorts of ways in our daily lives that we can come into direct contact with the non-human world in a way that actually is intertwined with our lives, not just staring at a beautiful vista, which is awesome to do, but it doesn't have the same quality of kind of intertwining us physically.
Engagement.
Yeah, and I think that just the very act of engaging with the earth and with the land in that way starts to reconfigure things in the mind. And that, in combination with just silence and being quiet in nature, meditation, whatever you want to call it, I think that is a process that can get underway anywhere. It should be getting underway everywhere.
And why should people be doing this right now, both culturally and on an individual level?
That's a weird question, because should implies some kind of like ethical trip, and I really try hard in my book and whenever I'm talking to really make this journey fun and to make it an exciting, beautiful, ecstatic thing that we're jumping into because we want to. And yeah, there's lots of things about it that are ugly and painful and awful. When you go and spend time alone in the woods, the ugliest things about you boil up to the surface for you to kind of mangle in your mouth, and it's horrible. It sucks. but there's something incredibly beautiful on the other side of that's lying there for you to get to.
But do you think this is culturally necessary right now in the place that we're in?
Yeah, I think that absolutely. Yeah, it's all, I guess, in my book I talk a lot about sustainability, and I'm not a huge fan of that word, even though it's got a lot of positive connotations. When we talk about sustainability, it's just, if I was to ask someone, hey, how are things with you and your partner? And they said, well, they're sustainable. I'd be like, oh, no, that's horrible. You're just staying in this relationship because it's getting you by or whatever, you know? If I'm in a relationship, I want to be, when someone asks me that, I want to say, it's amazing. It's like, we're both getting fed on such a deep level, and it's mutual, symbiotic, reciprocal thing, and it's ecstatic, and it's beautiful, and it's like, it's full of life, and it's dynamic, and it's ever-changing. And yeah, when we talk about sustainability and going green and stuff, it's kind of this mechanistic thing of, yeah, let's just switch to this different pattern of consumption, and fundamentally we'll live the same crappy lives. We'll have the same kind of vacuous relationships with each other, and we'll, you know, it's not talking about deep change. And so, yeah, I think for you know, just biological reasons and, you know, more surface reasons, but also just for reasons of awesomeness, that, yeah, of course it's imperative that we start living in a more intimate, immediate, real, connected, beautiful way.
All right, so one of the workshops you're doing at the Mother Earth News Fair is called How to Walk Away from Civilization. You touched on your first experience walking away. Would you like to talk a little more about why you did that?
Sure.
Okay.
I guess like most teenagers, I had all of this angst. It's just natural. I think people think of it as a modern thing, but I think it's existed for as long as human societies have existed, that when you're young and youthful and full of that energy and that fire and that passion, you just hate your forefathers. You have to dismantle your forefathers and discover truth on your own terms. And they call it teen angst now, but teenagers just feel it. It's why they like punk rock when their parents like Kenny G or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess for me, I was straight edge when I was a teenager, and that's probably why this all happened. And maybe not, but I also read Thoreau.
Yeah.
And somehow I just got infected with the idea that this world is horrible. There's something incredibly sad at the core of everything about our lives. And I don't want to ignore it. And I think that the best way to get to something that's actually real and true is to go alone into the woods.
So what's your ideal living situation for now and in the future?
That's a really good question, because people have asked me that before, and I would say, I don't know. I don't think there is one. And that's the essence of unlearning, really, is to not have any, it sounds maybe a little new agey or something, but yeah, to not have attachment to outcomes, to not have attachment to form, to not have any idea of what's right.
Sure.
That's kind of the rewilded mind. That's the wild mind. It's spontaneous and it's existing in a dynamic state.
Thank you so much for coming out and talking to me, taking the time. For more information about Miles, go to milesolson.net. And for more interesting ideas, check out utnereader.com.